All In Sports Network. We love sports.
How's it going, everybody? We are back on All In Aggies with an exciting update, a little delayed. KC Concepcion has announced his intentions to come to Texas A&M, wide receiver from North Carolina State, one of the best, maybe the best wide receiver in the portal, and we're going to hop on here, talk about it. So I actually, if you watched our Las Vegas Bowl recap, literally as soon as I finished recording that, the news came down. Concepcion coming to Texas A&M, something that has been long hoped for, I guess you could say, but you never want to get your hopes up too much because the portal is just, even if things are looking like it's going your way, right? Like that's just the life of the portal. Things can go sideways. And A&M did add a lot in terms of Micah Hudson and the like. So I wasn't sure if they were going to be done, but it turns out they were not. Holman Wiggins, by the way, doing a fascinating job. Mario Craver also earlier in the cycle, the wide receiver from Mississippi State. So we'll take a look at some of Mr. Concepcion's plays as I talk through here. True freshman was really when he broke through last year. 839 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns. Now this past year, didn't do as much. 53 for 460. So that's 1299 in his career with 16 touchdowns. I will add, Grayson McCall came in, Coastal Carolina, as their transfer quarterback, was anticipated to be the guy for them this year. That did not work out. He got injured, so they had C.J. Bailey for most of the year in at quarterback. I think that certainly limited his production and really the whole team as well in terms of the upside. Sort of unfortunate there. By the way, all this you're seeing is from his freshman year. But KC Concepcion, I think this is important for me because this is one of the guys who, there are a few of them every cycle where they are such a proven commodity. There's a lot more Micah Hudson types that you maybe get excited about, guys who were highly touted, who maybe should be better, and they get to the right spot and they do what they do. And then they prove themselves to be a breakout star. That is a lot more common in terms of getting your hopes up. But I think a guy like Concepcion reminds me sort of like maybe Nick Scorton last year from Texas A&M, one of the rare guys in the portal who is proven at a pretty high level. And you could say, without wish casting for a certain level of quality or talent or production, you could say pretty genuinely this guy has it and is like a legitimate number one receiver. So I think that's huge for this team. You know, Mario Craver, similar in the sense that he is proven, and since you know what he did at Mississippi State, and you know they were up against it, so those were real numbers for him too. But you got the upside here with Concepcion. That's exciting to me. So he comes in, like I said, 1,300 yards. He also runs the ball a little bit. I think he did a little return game as well, you know, especially as we said, the true freshman season where he really shined through. And I would say too, I think this puts the wide receiver position. I heard Billy Lucci mention this the other day, and I agree with him. I think wide receiver position ought to be, and I'll be very disappointed if it's not, clearly the most improved position group from year one of Mike Elko to year two. Between Craver, Hudson, Concepcion, Noah Thomas coming back, Terry Bussey settling into wide receiver, Jerome Miles, five-star freshman coming in, true freshman, along with others in that recruiting class. I think that'll be invaluable for Marcel Reed. And the thing, too, that excites me is I really do think, and we kind of tippy-toed around it, not because, you know, afraid to say the truth or anything, but because you didn't want to discount any of the guys on the roster. But I really do think, looking back at this season, especially if you go back start to finish, The wide receiver position was a huge, not liability, but a huge limiting factor for the Aggies this season. It was just something that Ant was not going to be able to lean on like enough guys to win one-on-one battles. The running game was good and could have been maybe that weapon to sort of open stuff up. But even then, you know, the best you could hope for is like, okay, a run game makes them commit to it to where you get one-on-one battles. And I just don't think the Aggies were, unfortunately, good enough to have enough guys out there to win, even if you had several one-on-one battles any given day. I just don't think they were good enough to do that. You know, Jabri Barber got hurt. That was part of it. As we said, Terry Bussey adjusting to the new role, that was part of it. I think Noah Thomas was banged up late, but you know, and Ja'Day Walker, all those guys are solid. There's nothing wrong with any of those guys. Like, you'd rather have them on your team than not, but you just need to have a guy like KC Concepcion, a guy like what you hopefully will see from Micah Hudson, the absolute best version of Noah Thomas, which hopefully you get to see more of next year. So that was what was missing. This was a huge addition for the Aggies to turn the page, leave that sour taste in your mouth from Las Vegas, and say brighter days are ahead. Help is on the way for Marcel Reed. And Marcel Reed, you're going to have a lot of help for him next year, not just with Concepcion and all those receivers, but, you know, the offensive line largely stays intact. Pretty much should stay intact for the most part if you look at the preferred starters and who's going to be back for next season. It looks as if all of those guys will be back. You know, even tight end position, Theo Nordstrom is back. You do lose Donovan Green, by the way. That happened since the last time we recorded. Donovan Green, you know, unfortunate for him, the injury situation, but you know, I think he'll be solid wherever he goes. But unfortunately, you weren't able to get anything from him this year, really, again, because of injuries, limiting him as a limiting factor. But you've got help at the tight end position coming back. You've got, as we mentioned, all the receivers, the O-line. Oh, and the running backs, you know, between Moss, Daniels, and Owens. Like that, finally should be able to see what that really looks like to have all those three guys at your disposal. So I think this offense is shaping up to be pretty fun next year. I still gonna pause to say, you know, we still have to see it all come together. Marcel Reed still got to take some steps, still got to progress. He's got to see how they all clash together. Like Micah Hudson, Mario Craver, like those are high, like I said, more of the traditional transfer types in terms of higher upside, and you're hopeful that they could do well, but you got to see it, right? So, but proven commodities, Marcel Reed, you should know at least the floor of where he's at. Hopefully it's better. Offensive line, same thing. Those receivers, pretty much the same thing. And then Concepcion, probably a guy that you can actually lean on to say, you know, if you're going to leave him one-on-one, you're actually going to get, you know, you're going to get penalized. You're going to get in trouble. Marcel's got to refine the deep ball to be able to make these guys pay when he's got Concepcion. I don't want to see, because I think we could, you know, you don't want to see Concepcion wide open on some plays and fail to capitalize. Because I think he'll put yourself into some positions to do that. He'll put himself in position to be available for some big high-impact plays next year. And you just got to make it happen. So that's the latest addition for the Aggies. KC Concepcion, the NC State wide receiver, coming into the portal. Hope you have a happy New Year's Eve. Ben Peck here at All In Aggies. Please subscribe if you would. Help us go into 2025 and really spring forward into the spring semester, spring season. We've got Texas A&M men's basketball coming up on Saturday. We'll be able to break that down for you and just help us out. You know, we started this thing kind of on a shoestring, not even budget, but just like time, resource allocation available to me. I'm going to have a lot more time to be able to put into this channel. Appreciate those of you who watched along and kind of helped go with me through this journey. It's something I've never done before. New Year's resolution, I get a lot better at this. I know I kind of drone on it at times, but this is a new format for me and trying things out. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're feeling generous, hit the like button, subscribe, but let us know in the comment section too. How do you feel about the receiving core? How improved do you feel like it will be? Is it the most improved position heading into next year? Will that pan out? KC Concepcion, how much of a difference maker is he? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. This is All In Aggies with the Rogue Sports Media Network, All In Sports Network, and we hope you have a happy new year, and we'll see you back here in 2025.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.